Sizzlen Stampers, it's Shannon here again with Shannon Sizzlen Stampers, and it's another week of our Sizzlen 12 Weeks of Christmas. And today I'm even dug out my festive ugly sweater, which is really more of a tunic, but it's super cheerful and bright and hokey fun. So I was adjusting my camera just so you could see my festivity. Today we have another project, and it is not too late to make some fabulous photo Christmas cards to send out, especially to a handful of people that you really want to send a special card or greeting to during the holiday season. So today we're going to be using the Framed and Festive stamp set. This one is limited edition. It is only available through the end of December or while supplies are available. So look for that to be going away soon. But at the core of this is just a very simple layout. You're going to start with a 4 1/4 by 12-inch piece of designer series paper, and you're going to score it 3 inches from each end, so at 3 and at 9. Okay, if you do that, that will leave you a perfect box of 4 1/4 by 6 in your center. Then you're going to cut a piece of solid cardstock to be 4 by a little hair under 6, because we want to be able, I think I actually did this at 5 3/4. And that, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be my photo mat layer. So this is what I'm going to put in. So I've scored that. And I'm going to put this right in to my piece. Okay, so now I've got this. And right here, this is where my photo would go. I don't know why I didn't think to bring a photo. Let me grab, I've usually always got a few photos around of, this happens to be a little pouch project I did before with my granddaughter. None of these photos are quite as large, and pretend that we're sideways. But if it were, here's one. You can use this one. If it were larger, and if not, if you have a small one, you can trim and use it as well. So you imagine, this is just to give you an imagine if. This is where your photo would go. Hopefully it's larger, but you may need to trim it down just a little bit. I'm going to probably have to pull that back out. Now, again, this paper is from the Candy Cane Suite, and some of the papers I'm using are from the Boughs of Holly designer series paper. So another little idea that I've done is I've taken, this is the, I want to call it the home baked label. I've pre-cut these. These are pieces from the Boughs of Holly. And in fact, where's a pair of large straight edge scissors? What is great about this is you can cut it like this and create some really cool, for this size you're going to need to come down. But the great thing about this, I don't know if you can see or not, but there are these great little grooves right in here. And so you can just line a straight pair of scissors and go right across easy peasy to whatever level of dimension that you need to cut off. So for this to make a corner accent, I need to go right above it to that end of that first scallop round. And then you can put whichever side you like. I thought I was going to use the more red, but I think I'm going to end up using that. Anyway, you would just create however many of those you want. Maybe you want 2, maybe you want 4, maybe you want none. And then you can tuck your photo in. They're working essentially like, if you're very familiar with old photo corners, if any of you know what I'm talking about out there, where my scrapbookers at, you guys would know. So the reason I'm using a glue dot is because I want to pre-make these, and I want to be able to still put my photo in there. So I want to line it up The bottom one's a little more tricky. The top one it's an easier alignment. I don't know why. It may just happen to be how I laid my paper in. But I am putting the glue dot just on the top of that round. Okay, there's the glue dot. And then I'm laying that right there. So now, for example, if I were inserting this as the photo, I know it's upside down, but I can just slide it right there. And of course I would probably put some adhesive, but maybe not. If your photo were large enough, you can easily just tuck the corners. Like if you had a regular 4x6 standard photo, snapshot photo, trim it slightly, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch max off of one width and one length. And then it would slide under that corner pocket and be beautiful. Now, if you see that your corners are hanging out afterwards, you can snip them to fit, just like so. And if you don't love that look, you just get rid of it. It's very simple to do. You just pull it like that. Now, the other thing that you can do is to take a different approach to the corner piece. So do you see how I've got, remember I talked about these little notch ins? If you punch one and you go around all the notch ends, you will end up with 4 almost little hat covers, and you will end up with a beautiful corner rounded square, which is a great layering piece. So don't get rid of that. So now you can take these little guys and put them right in there. Now, if you're doing this, you need to make sure that your photo is the 4x6 or very, very close, because you will need all that. You will need that little extra space of length to get it to hang into these. And I highly recommend that you would do 4, 1 on each corner. Okay. Now, for right now, that's just a couple of ideas. We're going to move on to the outside. So the outside, what I love is I've got several things. So I've kept the corner rounded square. I've got a piece of Pool Party, because you notice Pool Party is the inside color that I used as well. Okay. So I've got those pieces, and I've got one of the white smooth ovals from our double oval punch. And then I've got these random edge pieces of the poinsettia paper. So see how they're cut off? They're on the straight edge. Do not get rid of those. No, 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 no. These make the best. In fact, if you want another idea, you can watch my Facebook Live from a few weeks ago. I showed how to make a double pocket from our little add-on Ho 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 Santa sacks. And I used this very tip and trick on the Santa sack, because you're just trimming it down, and we're going to use the straight edge to our advantage. So that's always what Wow Without the Work and creating things that are simply stunning. I want us to always be taking advantage of the things that we naturally have. So this card, and if your photo is vertical, you just are going to turn your card and make it open like this. If it's horizontal, you're going to turn and make your card open like this. The design isn't going to change. So what I want to do is I want to align my straight edge with the straight edge of my card. Okay. And again, I've got a second one, just because I wasn't sure if I was going to want to have 2 of those or not. Because I didn't know if one was going to look kind of funny, if it was going to look unbalanced for me. I like things to look random but have some symmetric, oh my goodness, my brain, symmetry to them. So that's what happens. Cancer brain, it's a real thing. Pops up every now and then. So I'm going to take my large poinsettia. It's going to go on that side. Now we're going to play with having the smaller one on this side. They could be, see, we can double them up like this, and they almost look as if they were totally meant to go that way. I mean, we could possibly reverse them and you will get a slightly different effect because the tops and bottoms are reversed. Okay, that almost even looks better. I don't know. They're pretty close no matter which way you go and looking. And the thing that you want to look at is I want to have the larger poinsettia over on this side. You could also do something like zigzagging them so they're not precise. I pretty much want them precise. So I'm going to show you a couple of layouts. I'm going to finish with this one. If you don't want to do the poinsettias, the other thing that you can do is throw your label on, and you can do it here or here, but you want to make sure that you adhere it only to half of the card. But you can also put it here, and you're going to use that rounded square and come back in there, and then your sentiment would go here. Again, you could do this whole thing over here, but if you adhere it, you only want it to adhere to one half so that the card still opens. Does that make sense? So I just wanted to show you that because that was just a bonus for showing you how to do some corners and extra pieces. For the project today, we're going to quickly put on our poinsettias. And we're going to do them approximately in the center. Don't get worried if it's not exact. I don't worry about things like that. For me, when I have time to create, I've got to get as much creating done as possible. And these are looking, so I'm more matching the petals than matching an edge to edge. Okay? So if you like it that way, you can turn it. Right now there's no rhyme or reason to top or bottom. Not until I add the sentiment. All right, so for a sentiment, we are going to use the Merry Christmas. And we're going to use it with our Memento Tuxedo Black ink. It's a standard. Boy, my voice today. That's a standard. So if you do not own the Memento ink, you need to have that on your list. We're going to just stamp it, and it just barely fits. I could turn it over. This particular stamp is up higher than the rubber, and my lighting tonight is also causing me an issue. So try that. There we go. All right, so we've got our Merry Christmas on. So, first time you stamp it, it's not exact. Don't freak out, just flip over. And by that, I mean flip over your paper. All right, so we have this little piece. Now, we are going to add a little bit of fun to this on a couple of different levels. So for first level, we are going to only put our adhesive. And for our adhesive, we're going to use dimensional. And we are only going to put the adhesive on one side. Okay, remember how I talked about one side, okay? So right there is where our little flap will go. This is itchy, okay. All right, now, next, we are going to take the festive pearls and we are going to add a few in a couple of variations. So we're going to take a red. We're going to come down here with a soft succulent that didn't get the adhesive when I lifted it. So we're going to do a soft succulent there. Now we're also going to go ahead and bring a few more red, and we're going to put them up into the little berries on the poinsettia itself. And we're going to put one more down here. So we've got 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys know how I am about numbers. And if I wanted more, you could totally pearlize that entire, all the berries on there, and it would be fabulous. Now, the next step is we are going to use some of our Poppy Parade Baker's Twine. And I'm being pretty generous with this. What you're going to do, and I have to pick this up, you have your You have to have your picture in here at this point. Now, you do not have to do this, but it is a really nice clasp feature. Remember how we put this on with the dimensional? If my fingers will work, I'm going to slide my thread down, okay? So, see I've got that piece. I'm going to hold that end. Now, that end's going to be here, and I'm going to come the same direction as the end. And then I'm going to wind around and around. So I can go, you can go above the label or below it. But on your last wind, that's where you're going to trim it. However many winds you want, okay? Then you're going to come back with this piece. And I personally want to have this come back down here. And now I'm going to tie this off. So it's a little bit of like old-fashioned brown paper wrapping with twine. It's a little bit like that. I majored in fashion, and I used to work doing window scenes, and I worked at a boutique, and the particular boutique that I worked at was one that hand-wrapped gifts and packages for the holidays. Or if your person that you were gifting your purchase, if it was their birthday, we hand-wrapped them. So I had to learn how to do lots of different bows. And these weren't pre-made bows you just stuck on. You had to make the bow from the large ribbons and such. And often this was a bit of a packaging trick. And if you do it correctly, you can end up with this crisscrossed, and that's totally fine too. I don't mind that at all. But if you do it, if you're very precise, you can get a look that looks super even like this. So you have 1 and 2, and you have a nice little tails coming off over there. And then the person has to figure out how to open that. So it's a little bit more intriguing. Or they can just cut the ribbon. And if they're careful, you can just slide your ribbon, your baker twine off. But we don't want to do that tonight. So that is our finished project on the photo. It's a fancy photo packaging card. So I hope you really enjoyed that. Just a little bit of time left for Sizzlen, 12 Sizzlen weeks of Christmas. So I will look for you guys another time. Don't forget, subscribe, share, so you too can be entered to have a chance of winning $75 in Stampin' Up! Product as soon as I hit my subscriber goal. All right, bye guys.